that actually by the end of the first season, she truly was left in that gray area by herself. Because before that, it was, Baylan's approval was her reward all along, and she's now beginning to carve out her path. So I think it's just surrendering to whatever comes along in the journey and just understanding that it's not absolute and allowing that to happen.
And then, Diana, you had this interesting in here as far as you were on this great episode of The Mandalorian that ended up kind of being a backdoor pilot for Ahsoka. How much, at the time, because obviously Thrawn gets name dropped in that episode, but, Dave, I don't know, how much was being kept close to the vest? Were you given any kernels of what was to come or what her full sort of deal was?
You mean back when I was doing Mandalorian?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know that Ahsoka was even a possibility.
Oh, wow.
I honestly didn't know. In fact, I didn't even know my name was Morgan Elsbeth until the night the Jedi episode appeared on Mandalorian, season 2, episode 5. I was just stunned. I'm like, I got a name. I just knew I was the Magistrate. So, and I know everybody was like, oh look, Grogu's name Grogu, but I had no idea about Morgan. It had to be Morgan until Rosario said the character's name. So that gives you an idea of that kind of secrecy that they keep, So yeah, I wasn't privy to it. And then when I found out that I was going to be possibly considered for Ahsoka, ironically, I was at Disneyland with my family when I got the call from my manager, and I just literally screamed and cried in the middle of Disneyland. So yeah, it was kind of crazy how that happened, but I tell you, it was beautiful because when it felt real for me that Ahsoka was happening is when we had our first Zoom table read, and then that beautiful chemistry that we were building in real time on Zoom. I loved it, so I was so happy.
This is a question for any of you to jump in on, because all of you either wielded a lightsaber or fought against a lightsaber. You were in a lightsaber fight even if you weren't holding a lightsaber. And I'm just curious, what was the training process for that like in general? And my second part of this question is, I remember you and McGregor famously saying on the prequels, him and Liam Neeson couldn't stop making lightsaber humming noises, and I'd be chastised and told to stop doing that. And did you have that problem as well? Come on, go.
Okay, so repeat the question.
Oh, what was the training process for the lightsaber fight like? And did you make the noise on set?
Okay, so yeah, there was a lot of noise making on set, especially coming from Ray. He would just always go kind of boom, 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 so you can't really help yourself. It was great. I think especially getting to work with Natasha quite a bit. It was just a lot of training. We got to know one another from training, and getting to know Ming as well, being led by her. There's a lot that comes along with getting to know your lightsaber. I think it has to do with, it's a meditative process as well, and showing up for yourself in a physical way that I don't think I've experienced before. But yeah, a lot of noises were made, and maybe still are made to this day.
It comes with the territory.
It was interesting for you, Natasha, because she has to not be great at lightsaber fighting initially, so is that sort of a different process for you to be the not as good at lightsaber fighting?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I do have some background in martial arts, and then I also have some experience with a katana sword from another film, so I sort of started from scratch in a way, because the way that we fight is very samurai, which was a very different stance, a very different form. So I felt like a beginner, and the fact that Sabine is not very good just meant that I had a lot of falling over to do and a lot of reactions, and I was saying to Ivanna I'm so not jealous of her, because I'm happy that I'm the one that gets to be the bad one, the one that sucks at lightsabers.
Iman, it's funny when at first